Could you or I manage to do even one of the countless things that God does in order to sustain this world? Well, that's an easy answer. Of course we couldn't. So if we couldn't even do the most simple of tasks, like finding food to give to the young lions or causing the rain to come in its proper season, then why is it that we feel so free to question God's wisdom in the way that He runs our lives? That's the question the Lord has been asking Job. Remember, Job had been questioning God's justice because Job was suffering greatly, even though he was a man of great integrity who feared the Lord. And then he looked around and he sees all the wicked people in the world prospering and having an easy life rather than getting the punishment that they deserve. So Job's been saying, if only I could take the Lord to court, if I could present my case before Him, then I am confident that everyone, including the Lord, would see that I'm innocent. And then the Lord would have to relax His hand so that my suffering comes to an end. Well, the Lord began to respond to Job in chapter 38. He says, "Who is this who questions my wisdom? Even though behind all of his many words, there's not even one bit of actual knowledge." He starts asking Job a bunch of questions regarding the ways that God runs the world. He says, "Job, do you know where the snow is stored? Do you know how to command the dawn to come on time? Can you guide the stars into their right places at night?" In today's reading, he continues his questioning. Chapter 39, he says, "Job, do you know how the mountain goats or the deers give birth? Do you know how the baby deer is born one moment, and yet the next moment is suddenly running strong in the open field? And not only do you understand how it happens, but can you cause it to happen? What about the wild ox, Job? If you command him, will he do your will? Can you give strength to the horse? Does the eagle fly high above the mountains because you tell it to? Is he able to see his prey from a long distance away because you gave him the ability to do it?" And in the middle of it all, the Lord describes the ostrich. But he doesn't ask Job any questions about the ostrich, and I think it's because he's actually comparing Job to the ostrich. He says the ostrich flaps its wings proudly and can run faster than a horse. But she doesn't even take care of her own children properly. She leaves her eggs on the ground where they could get trampled. And she herself, he says, might even trample them. She doesn't take into consideration that the eggs and the young inside might die because God didn't give her the wisdom that she needs to do it. Now, on one hand, there's an unspoken question he's asking Job. I didn't give the ostrich wisdom, but maybe you could give wisdom to the ostrich, Job, since you have so much of it. On the other hand, I think the Lord is saying, Job, you are like the ostrich. You're so proud of your wealth and of your position of wisdom among other men, and you run through life swiftly. But the truth is, you don't know how life really works. And at the beginning of chapter 40, the Lord sums it up and says, well, Job, what do you think now? You've been finding fault with me, with the way that I run my world. Do you have any basis on which to build your argument? Come on, you've been rebuking me. You've been longing for a chance to present your case before me, so go ahead and do it. Answer me. Show me where I have gone wrong. And Job's response is what our response ought to be when we complain about the way that God runs the world, when we question God's justice and fairness, when we accuse God of doing us wrong. Job says in verse 3, he says, you know what, Lord? I think I'll just shut up now. I can see who is who in the overall grand scheme of things. You're God, and that makes me quite small and limited in my understanding of everything. I've said enough. I don't have anything worthwhile to add to it, so I'm just going to put my hand over my mouth and let you be God.